Where's the paperwork?
It's on the metal box thing. That's why she's acting like this. I'm doing my presentation on judging. What you want to look for is meatiness and how firm their muscles are and not too much fat. Like if you're walking around, you don't want them to jiggle very much. We want firm muscles. We want good growth for the animal's age. Adequate muscle. You'll look for a flat top line, a round rib cage, a long, thick loin, and big legs.
What's your age?
Her age, she's about 7 months. You want no defects, good health, wide set legs, because that's like something that you get when you have big muscle. You need to get through. Okay, so when you check for a long loin, you find the left side. Would you be able to show her?
Yeah.
Okay. He's gonna be the showman, I'm gonna be the judge. Okay. So you wanna look for a long loin, find the last rib, and then the hip bone, and that's how long the loin is.
So that's about 8 inches or something?
Yeah, around there. Then I'll check for a thick loin. Like you feel right here, like where it stops, and then.
Now she looks like she's
that
nice and long.
Yes, she's very long. That's one of the things that's good about her. She's very long.
She's pretty wide here, but as she comes up, she kind of thins out in her shoulder. So I would like her to kind of stay this thickness all the way through.
You're taking over.
Dive in there.
Okay, you can get my presentation for me then.
Good to be fired up.
You want a flat top line, just kind of wavy, so like you push that down, and then if she is going down, you kind of smack her to make her move her leg back up more. Go wide back. You wanna, when you see how the legs should be wide set like that, like this is how you would set it up for show, wide set. Then you would go like this. Probably like this is pretty better for you guys. So like this, put your middle fingers together behind it, and then. Well, this is like the beginner's way of judges to start doing it.
So kind of get right across the gap in there, kind of that's the width you're looking for, the circumference.
And the more space you have between your thumbs, the better. Judges, if they're really good, they just like go, okay, done. I can't do it that well. So, when you're judging, you start from the ground up. So you judge like the legs here, and then you judge the rump. Then you go forward. You go from the ground up, and then from the back forward. Then you'd go to the rib cage, and then the shoulder. And I don't know if they judge. Do they judge the neck?
Well, that would be when you're showing the front.
Yeah. And then when you judge the front, you look for the breast. Okay. You look for the breast and the neck, and then the front legs. The ranking of traits for market lambs in this order are the degree of muscling, the degree of finish, balance and style, frame size and structural correctness. The degree of muscling would be evaluated first through the center of the leg. You you want to be careful not to be tricked by thickness, by extra fat, because that wouldn't be very good. You wouldn't get that much meat because it's mostly fat. The back half of the lamb has the most valuable cuts of meat than the front half. So you want the front half to be shorter than the back half. You want the back half to be really long. So that's why you want a long loin, is because the loin is a good cut of meat. So you want the back half to be longer than the front half. All judges have something that they like best in their animals that they judge. Some of them might like a long loin most. Others might like a big leg better. It all depends on the judge's personal preference. The new trend that people want these days for their lamb is a big round leg. My lamb doesn't have that big of a big leg, but usually it'd be like really coming out, really bulging, and that's because there's lots of good cuts of meat back there. So you want bigger. This concludes my presentation. There's a board there that has some of the general things that you look for when you're judging. Any questions?
Talk to us a little also about the financial side. How did this lamb do at the class?
She got first in her class, but I was the only one in the class. So I had to go on Champion Drive. Do you remember what she got in Champion Drive? She was like...
They don't really play Champion Drive, they just put their zeros in Supreme.
Yeah, it's like 4th or 5th or 6th, somewhere around there. She got in Champion Drive. The judge liked her length. For lamb, for a 100-pound lamb, you get, I think, about around 45 pounds of meat.
It's 55%. Huh? 50 to 60%.
Okay, 50% then.
56%?
50 to 60%.
So, yeah, listen to this, guys, because this is really important. What was the percentage of yield from a hog? Carrie Ann just told us. 65 to 70, a little higher. What's it from beef?
50 or less.
50 or less. So this is something you have to think about, okay? All animals aren't the same. We're doing this to produce meat, so you've got to think about all the costs and ultimately how much meat are they going to produce, and then what the market is for. The problem with lambs is America doesn't like lamb very much, right? So that's kind of, you have to balance that, but they got a pretty high yield. So they're somewhere between swine, which is really high, and beef, which is really low in terms of yield of actual meat. The rest is all bones and that kind of stuff.
I'm not going to try to get ready for the show. I got Master Showman in like a half hour.
Yeah, you got first, huh? Okay. Thanks for doing this. He's in my lamb club, or my lamb group.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how many, you got a pretty strong lamb?
Yeah, she's pretty strong. She jumps up. Sometimes she picks me up when she jumps.
What breed?
She's a Suffolk breed. No, she's purebred Suffolk. She might be crossbred with Hampshire, but the breeder said she was Suffolk. She's just blue. She's a ewe layer. Any more questions?
Okay. Yeah.
How much did it cost you? She cost $150 when